From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun. Hello and welcome. Tonight, the Julius Abure-led Labour Party stages a protest at the Independent National Electoral Commission to voice grievances over the alleged exclusion of their flag bearers from the list of contestants for upcoming elections. The African Democratic Congress challenges Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State to step up efforts in tackling the security challenges plaguing the state. Kaduna State government secures a $25.35 million concessional loan from the Kuwait government, says facility is aimed at addressing the menace of out-of-school children in the state. And a top UN official has warned there would be catastrophic consequences if Israel expands its military operations in Gaza.
In our business, Nigeria's stock market's capitalization raises towards 100 trillion naira as hyperdrive rally continues for 26 consecutive days on the exchange.
On sports news tonight, Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta believes the Gunners can end their trophy droughts in the upcoming season after spending £200 million in the transfer market so far.
And from the nation's capital, the Joint Security Task Force of the Federal Capital Territory impounds 20 vehicles and recovered dangerous weapons used by criminals for stealing and kidnapping in the nation's capital.
The Julius Abure-led Labour Party and some civil society organizations have staged a protest at the national headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, over the exclusion of its flag bearers in the upcoming Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections and by-elections to fill vacancies in the national and state assemblies from its portal, where candidates' names are displayed. Now, the protesters displaying various placards demanded an explanation from the electoral umpire on the reason for the non-recognition of their candidates, describing it as a deliberate attempt to disenfranchise the party and its supporters. Our correspondent, Dele Omoyeni, reports.
Defying the rains, members of the Julius Abure-led Labour Party and some civil society organizations gather at the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Their grievance centered on the emergence of candidates of the party for the forthcoming elections, including the FCT area election and the by-election for states and national assembly.
The duty of INEC has nothing to do with the leadership of a political party. Yes, sir. Labour Party conducted a primary election in FCT and the by-elections, and up till now, all names of other political parties have been uploaded into the INEC portal, but that of Labour Party is not seen.
However, the crowd becomes agitated as INEC officials refuse to address them. Finally, reason prevails and some national commissioners come out to address them.
So I've heard the message, and I believe I've heard the message correctly, because you have reaffirmed what you said yourself. And I've assured Nigerians once more that we're independent, and we will ensure that what the voter, the Nigerian, says is what obtains. That's right. That is an assurance.
However, a group of the party led by Nenadi Usman has distanced the party from the protest, stating that the protesters are not members of the party. The statement, which was issued by a senior special advisor and media to the interim national chairman of the party, Mr. Ken Asogwa, states that the Labour Party received the decision with relief, knowing that INEC, a responsible electoral umpire, would eventually proceed to accept and publish the authentic list submitted by the current lawful leadership of the party. Nevertheless, the protesters have given INEC 7 days to resolve the issue. Daily Omoyeni, Channels Television News.
As Nigerians look forward to 2027, a bit of criticism has gone out to political parties who will be in the thick of the action vying for offices that year. And the former national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, Mr. Uche Secondus, is faulting the way politicians view and manage such political parties in Nigeria, describing them as mere platforms for winning elections. Mr. Secondus made his remarks in Abuja at the public presentation of the books on the leadership of the PDP.
The former national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Uche Secondus, the 2023 presidential aspirant of the party, Mr. Mohammed Hayatuddin, and other prominent members of the party are attending the public presentation of the books on the leadership of the PDP titled Bubbles of Nigerian Democracy and the Wadata Wonders. Expectedly, the focus of conversations here centered on democracy and Nigeria's political system.
Until we establish a proper democratic political parties where people will stay 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, as the case may be, build, reconstruct, we are still far from getting to a point where we can say we have democracy. We don't have democracy in our country. There's not. What we have is platform for winning election.
Writing books such as these requires not just an intellectual journey through history. It demands courage, discipline, and a certain moral conviction. It is not easy to tell the truth, especially in a country where power often demands silence.
The public lecture, which was delivered by the former President General Ohanaeze Ndigbo Worldwide, Mr. John Modo, is titled How Did We Get Here?, highlighting the degeneration in governance, public infrastructure, security, and fiscal policies.
Since President Tinubu assumed office in 2023, public debt has jumped by 65%. A fresh $24 billion borrowing, which is on offer, may balloon Nigeria's debt to 183 trillion. Today, there is the dictatorship of the political parties. Candidates are imposed on the people without transparent primaries. In some cases, no primaries take place at all. Governors have become appointing authorities for candidates for elective offices in their states. Our electoral system has become corrupted and unattractive to honest and brilliant citizens. The mess continues.
In the same vein, The Economist proffered some solutions.
Nigeria must restructure and give its component units sovereignty over its natural resources. Emphasis must return to agriculture and education. Education must emphasize on Renaissance digital orientation. Domestic security must remain in the hands of federating units.
Nigeria has enjoyed 26 years of unbroken democracy, the longest it has experienced since her independence in 1960. Participants say conversations such as this one here remain critical to making democracy work for the people.
Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State has expressed concern over the poor performance of the federal government in implementing its budget, describing the lapses as a major setback to the country's development. He made the remarks while receiving a delegation of women under the umbrella of the PDP founding mothers who paid him a courtesy visit at the government house in Bauchi. The visit provided a platform to discuss the role of women in the party's political structure and their participation in governance. Our correspondent, Hajara Aliyu, reports.
A delegation of female founding members of the People's Democratic Party, led by former Minister of Women Affairs, are meeting with Governor Bala Muhammad of Bauchi State to formally express their concerns over the low representation of women in the party's leadership structure.
Of this very important visit,
the group, known as the PDP Founding Mothers, presented a letter highlighting their demands.
Even though we are very, very loyal members of this party, but then we need to be carried along. Your Excellency, the party constitution is the only constitution of the political parties that had 35% affirmative action. All the other parties copied it from PDP.
In his response, Governor Muhammad acknowledges the significant contributions of women to governance and the growth of the party. While noting some of the challenges, he promises to champion their cause.
The party structure will make sure every ward in our local council we have 3 women that are elected as councillors. Sometimes we find it difficult to get those women at the local level because of traditional inhibition. I remember in some of the local governments we have to go out of our way. We could only get 2 because the husbands will not allow them to go and step forward.
During the meeting, the governor also used the opportunity to criticize the federal government's poor budget implementation.
Today we have about 3 budgets on the ground in the National Assembly. The 2024 budget, only 30% has been implemented. Yes, and 2025 is 0% of implementation. And we are talking of going to 2026. This is the kind of government we have. Some of us know so much, but we keep quiet. Not because we have compromised, but because we don't want to disparage the nation. But we are really in for it. It is time for us to come together to take over the federal government.
He further encouraged women to aspire to higher leadership positions within the party, beyond the role of women leader, especially as the party prepares for its next convention. Hajara Aliyu, Channels Television News.
Take the bull by the horns. That's the African Democratic Congress's challenge to Governor Dauda Lawal for him to step up efforts in addressing the security challenges bedeviling Zamfara state. The ADC decried the alarming increase in bandit attacks on rural communities, indicating the failure of the federal and state governments to tackle the issue. The party made the call during the celebration of Handshake Day with the youth in Gusau, the Zamfara state capital.
The Zamfara State chapter of the African Democratic Congress is mobilizing members to join their fold as part of what they call a Handshake Day with some youth in Gusau, the state capital. The party used the occasion to react to the insecurity in the state, especially following recent attacks on rural communities in the state, emphasizing the need for the government to restore normalcy and peace in the state.
We want the state government to do the needful because we know everything. We know this in our community, especially the local areas, are facing serious insecurity issues. Look at this, the by-election of Aura is around the corner. And still there is a serious insecurity in the area. And forget about the Aura side, every location in the Zamfara state, we have 147 in wards in the state. All the wards are facing security issues. And we know this government, during their campaign, they promised to provide security and welfare for the citizen. But look at what is happening in the state.
The leaders believe the party offers Nigerians an effective alternative, urging the people to embrace the party's plan to bring transformation that will meet the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians.
Today we are celebrating Handshaking Day. For the youth, ADC for you, ADC for me, ADC is for all. We are calling on the youth. On this party, everybody should come out to participate on this ADC You can see in Zamfara state now, we don't have rest of mind to travel now. We are not even minding of accidents again. Your mind will be up. If you see anything on the road, you will think, is this bandits? There is no rest of mind. We need peace. We need freedom, because people are not okay.
The party also claims there has been a surge in membership, adding that over 75,000 new members have been added to their fold in the state.
In part two, after the break, African heads of state, policymakers gather in Accra, Ghana for the Global Stakeholders Africa Health Sovereignty Summit. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasted live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. The Julius Abure-led Labour Party stages a protest at the Independent National Electoral Commission to voice grievances over the alleged exclusion of their flag bearers from the list of contestants for upcoming elections. The African Democratic Congress challenges Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State to step up efforts in tackling the security challenges plaguing the state. Kaduna State government secures a $25.35 million concessional loan from Kuwait. The government says facility is aimed at addressing the menace of out-of-school children in the state. And a top UN official has warned there would be catastrophic consequences if Israel expands its military operations in Gaza. The Kaduna State government has secured a $25.35 million concessional loan from the Kuwait Fund for Arab Development, aimed at supporting the implementation of reaching out-of-school children in the state. The funding, which is part of the broader $62.8 million package, is to support the enrollment of 200,000 out-of-school children into formal education system in Kaduna. Speaking during the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between Kaduna State and Kuwait Fund for Arab Development at the Federal Ministry of Finance, Abuja, Governor Uba Sani emphasized the importance of education in the state's transformation.
Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State is at the headquarters of the Federal Ministry of Finance as part of efforts to improve education in the state. The state is partnering with the Kuwait Fund for Arab Economic Development to improve learning outcomes, prioritize girl-child education, and improve enrollment in formal education in the state. The partnership is built on a $25 million concessionary loan agreement, which is part of a wider $62.8 million blended package with international partners.
My administration has prioritized creating accessible, inclusive, and high-quality learning environment. We have backed this commitment to action. In 2024, 25% of our state budget was allocated to education. And in 2025, we increased this to 26.14%.
The federal government is signing the agreement on behalf of the Kaduna State government. The Minister of State for Finance, Mrs. Doris Uzoka Anite, explains that the program reflects Nigeria's commitment to transparency, accountability, and results in social investment.
Today's signing ceremony marks not just the formalization of the financial agreement, it also symbolizes a powerful partnership rooted in compassion, equity, and the transformative power of education.
The Director General of Kuwait Fund for Arab Economic Development describes the partnership as an investment in hope.
The project marks a significant milestone, and as it is Kuwait Fund first project in Nigeria, and the beginning of the strong partnership between us, rooted in inclusive development and expanded education opportunities.
The project is expected to deliver 102 climate-resilient schools and rehabilitate 170 learning centers across all 23 local government areas, while focusing on school safety, reintegration of girls, children with disabilities, and internally displaced children.
Women's advocacy group, Her Rights Watch, has strongly condemned an article in a recent publication which criticized female officers in the Nigeria police, describing the article as a misleading campaign to demoralize women in the police. The group expresses dismay over the content of the online publication, calling it uncharitable. Quote, in turning what is essentially an institutional issue of police promotion into personal attack on some female police officers who have distinguished themselves in the service of the nation, end quote. The publication had alleged that the promotion list of police officers favored female officers from the Southwest, but after a review by the group Her Rights Watch, it was discovered that the North Central were in fact the top beneficiaries of the exercise. Her Rights Watch calls on media regulatory bodies to investigate what it terms the defamatory content of the article and protect women in public service from malicious attacks. The group adds, quote, we cannot allow this kind of journalistic recklessness to go. It needs a hostile environment for women and reinforces the culture of impunity, end quote. Accra, Ghana has hosted a landmark gathering of African heads of state, policymakers and global health stakeholders for the Africa Health Sovereignty Summit. According to the Ghanaian government, the summit serves as a call to reimagine global health governance amid a rapidly shifting geopolitical and economic landscape. It also aims to foster a new era of health sovereignty rooted in national ownership, investment, and leadership.
As health systems worldwide remain under pressure, African leaders say now is the time to build resilience, not just for the continent, but for global health security. Hosted by Ghanaian President John Mahama, the Africa Health and Sovereignty Summit is calling for stronger regional systems and a greater African voice in global health governance.
The world has changed, but global health governance has not kept pace with the changing world. At this moment, we're called to redesign the architecture that has for far too long excluded Africa's voices, excluded Africa's needs and innovations. We're called to build systems that do more than respond to crisis. We must build systems that generate resilience, produce equity, and amplify dignity of our people.
President Mahama's comments were echoed by the Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, who issued a stark warning about the consequences of slashing international aid.
According to WHO's latest analysis, health aid is projected to decline by up to 40% this year compared to just 2 years ago. This is not a gradual shift. It's a cliff edge. Life-saving medicines are sitting in warehouses. Health workers are losing jobs. Clinics are closing, and millions are missing care.
Also weighing in is former Nigerian President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, who championed a new vision for African health independence.
I believe at the global level, we should have health security for all. Health security for all. Here in this country, some time ago, the slogan was Ghana Beyond Aid. I believe the slogan for us should be now Africa Health Without Aid. But with global partnership, solidarity, cooperation, and collaboration, and of course, togetherness.
This year's summit launched the Accra Initiative, aimed at boosting regional investment, equity-driven healthcare, and self-reliance systems.
The people of Akukutoru, a riverine local government area in Rivers State, now have a reason to smile as Renaissance Africa Energy Company Limited, in collaboration with its joint venture partners, launched a community health insurance scheme for them. The initiative is designed to help families in the area access quality health care without facing financial hardship. The scheme, which is the third of its kind introduced by the company this year, reflects the ongoing commitment of Renaissance Africa Energy Company Limited and its partners to help improve healthcare access in underserved communities in Rivers State.
Abonema, the headquarters of Akukutoru local government area of Rivers State, comes alive as Renaissance Africa Energy Company Limited and its joint venture partners, NNPCL, Total Energies and ENI, launch a community-focused health insurance scheme at the Primary Health Care Center. Following a 15-year history of successful schemes in the state capital, Port Harcourt, the company's new launch will offer residents comprehensive health coverage for an annual fee of 20,000 naira.
Obio Community Health Insurance Scheme model has demonstrated that with the right structure, communities can finance their health needs effectively, increasing access and strengthening trust in the system.
Specifically, the Akukutoru Health Insurance Project, a community-based health insurance initiative, seeks to provide accessible and affordable medical care to residents of this community, the local government, and its surrounding regions.
The implementation of the health insurance scheme is being handled by Excellence Community Education Welfare Scheme, a non-governmental organization with standards set by the sponsors.
One person, one organization cannot do it alone. It's about partnerships. And you see, what we are showing is what is possible. We've shown what is possible in Obio. We've shown what is possible in Rumukurushi. We work together in Boni to see what's possible here. Today is Abonema and Akukutoru local government. Other organizations should join in with us.
This place must work. And we commit to making it work, partnering with Renaissance Africa Energy Company and also all our partners here, the HMOs, who are going to work closely to ensure that there are healthcare professionals here to treat people day and night.
To show its commitment, the company is pledging to enroll 2,000 indigent residents free of charge in the first year. The health facility has also been fully renovated with solar power and water treatment plant, a development that excites both the community and the government.
I want to thank you wholeheartedly on behalf of the King, on behalf of all the chiefs, and on behalf of all of us for what you are doing today. And we pray that you will record your usual superlative success with this health insurance scheme.
This project is a very great one in the sense that it's going to take care of women in this community. It's going to take care of children in this community. It's going to take care of the elderly. And if this group of persons are taken care of, then you can take it to the bank that this community will be a healthy one.
Amen. God the Son and the Holy Spirit.
The renovated healthcare center is commissioned by the representative of traditional ruler and inspected by the stakeholders.
Supported 2025.
Still ahead on the news at 10. Nigeria's stock market capitalization races towards 100 trillion naira as hyperdrive rally continues for 26 days on the exchange. That's in business news. Please join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10. Let's now head to the nation's capital, and Gloria Umezioke is standing by to give us the latest from our Abuja studios. Over to you, Gloria.
Thank you, Ayo. But here in the nation's capital, we begin with the Joint Security Task Force, which has impounded 20 vehicles and recovered weapons used by criminals for stealing and kidnapping in the nation's capital. But this was disclosed by the team after a raid in Wuse Zone 3 area of Abuja, which is believed to
converge on the Eagle Square in Abuja for a debrief before setting out for the day's operation. On On arrival at this area in Wuse Zone 3, the team led by the FCT's Director Development Control Department, Mr. Mukhtar Galadima, immediately swung into action. This operation is a follow-up to the FCT Minister's Directive during the security meeting on August 5, 2025, to rid the city of criminal elements.
In the plan of Abuja, where we are standing now is a proposed road corridor that has been designated as the Inner Northern Expressway, just like what we have as Goodluck Ebele Jonathan Expressway. So this is the mirror of it in the northern sector. They have been residing illegally, so there is nothing we can do about them but to chase them out of the place. Moreover, this place has been designated for another use. It's not supposed to accommodate them, but they were just occupying illegally.
Aside from distorting the master plan of the city, the team also believes that criminal activities are being carried out on the property.
These are the weapons most of these criminal elements who are hibernating in this particular axis normally used to attack unsuspecting passers-by and motoring public. Here leads from here they can go towards the National Mosque bridge, and they can also access the Zone 1 bridge. Before we got here, most of them they disappeared. But from what we have done right now, they have cleared the place. They don't even have a place to come and lay their head again.
We have about 20 vehicles impounded. Not only impounded, they were towed from this place. Some of them are being used for one chance. As you can see, we've been able to clear the place, this place of all abandoned vehicles.
With these recoveries made, the FCT Joint Task Force has promised that it will continue this raid exercise until it completely rids the city of criminal elements. From the nation's capital, Kumbi Aboluade, Channels Television News.
The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, has affirmed that the administration of President Bola Tinubu is fully committed to championing a new era of African health sovereignty, one driven by resilient systems, domestic innovation, African agency. He made the call at the Africa Health Sovereignty Summit, holding in Accra, Ghana, where he represented the president. The minister emphasized that the Accra initiative marks a turning point in placing Africa at the center of global health governance. He noted that health must be seen not merely as a sector, but as a strategic investment in economic productivity, human capital, and continental resilience. Convened by President John Mahama of Ghana, the summit serves as a call to reimagine global health governance amid a rapidly shifting geopolitical and economic landscape.
As we're seeing major global shifts, the geopolitical shift, and the nationalistic politics that is disrupting global health, these shifts provide us with a natural opportunity to assess what we have and to chart a much better future ahead, one that respects each country and continent's sovereignty and self-determination. The truth is that we cannot expect to build a healthier population purely on the back of other nations' money or generosity. Africa cannot afford to outsource its most important health priorities by continued dependency. There is need to pivot towards significant increases in domestic financing mobilization, including push for renegotiated debt relief, innovative tariffs and taxes. Tedros listed them out: airlines, mining, tourism, and develop new domestic financing models. The African Development Bank and Afrexim Bank should be mandated to develop robust financial instruments and deploy them towards enhancing Africa's health.
Africa must no longer be the patient. It must be the driver. It must be the author. It must be the architect and the advocate of its own health destiny. Globally, we must champion a new health governance architecture that reflects a multipolar, digitally interconnected, climate-challenged world. Health governance must be democratic, it must be just, and it must be fit for the 21st century realities. At this moment, we're called to redesign the architecture that has for far too long excluded Africa's voices, excluded Africa's needs and innovations. We're called to build systems that do more than respond to crisis.
Inspector General of Police Mr. Kayode Egbetokun has decorated the winners of the 2023 and 2024 winners of Police Officer of the Year Award with their new ranks. ACP Aliyu Shaba and CSP Sentome Obi are speaking at the ceremony, which took place at the IGP Smart Conference Room, Force Headquarters in Abuja. Mr. Egbetokun says the promotion and decoration of the officers demonstrates the force's commitment to acknowledging and rewarding officers who consistently carry out their service to the nation and its citizens exceptionally. The IGP seized the opportunity to call on all members of the force, declaring that the doors of honor and recognition are wide open, but would only come as a result of hard work, professionalism, excellence, and service discipline. That's it from the nation's capital. We go over now to Will Ibong for business news.
Thank you, Gloria. Nigeria's insurance industry is set for major changes after President Tinubu signed the Insurance Industry Reform Act 2025 into law. The National Insurance Commission, NICOM, says the law is a game changer and will revive the sector after 20 years under outdated rules. The new law requires insurance firms to raise capital or face mergers. Non-life insurers must now have 25 billion naira, life insurance 15 billion naira, and reinsurers 45 billion naira. NICOM says the changes will boost trust, attract investment, and improve Nigeria's global ranking. With insurance penetration still under 1%, the Commission hopes the reforms will help the industry grow, protect policyholders, and contribute more to the economy. Now, Egrin Power, Ikeja Electric, and First Independent Power have strongly refuted false media reports stemming from misleading advertorials published today in a newspaper, which claimed that Kunle Ogumba Esquire, SAN, had been appointed as receiver manager over the three entities. The company says the claims misrepresent facts and violate a federal high court ruling which restrains lenders and their agents from interfering with the company's assets, operations, or accounts. The management insists the companies are financially stable, fully operational, and remain under their legitimate control, urging the public and stakeholders to disregard the misleading publication. Now, outside our shores, President Donald Trump has raised tariffs on Indian goods to 50%, accusing India of importing oil from Russia. The new 25% hike announced Wednesday adds to an earlier 25% already set to begin on Thursday. Now, Donald Trump signed an executive order saying India's Russian oil trade helps fund the war in Ukraine. He warned earlier this week that tariffs would rise very substantially unless India stopped fueling the war machine. India has pushed back, saying it's been unfairly targeted, while Western nations still trade with Russia. The new tariffs will take effect in 21 days. And let's head to the stock market now. With year-to-date performance currently at 41.67%, the total value of equities listed on Nigeria's stock market is just steps away from hitting 100 trillion naira mark. And this comes as investors continue their bargain hunting interest for stocks across different sectors of the NGX, which they consider as a more viable investment option to beat inflation. At the close of midweek trading today, the benchmark index of the domestic bourse crossed the 145,000 points, following a 26 consecutive day rally and 162% increase in the volume of equities traded today. Ladi Williams has details of this report.
Well, no surprises today. The market continues in the green with a bigger move up. We saw 51 stocks gain, but just 25 down, taking the all-share index to a new high, 145,000, 0.70% up. Look at the sectors that we track now. We see insurance sector there. a big 9.87%. It seems to be insuring the bulls at this point. Technically, all the insurance stocks were up today. Biggest movers were the likes of Mansard, NEM Insurance, they're up full 10%. An analyst I spoke to earlier confirmed most were on full bid today. Guess why? Yesterday, President Bola Tinubu assented to the Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Bill 2025, and that's where we see that industry and that sector on fire today. Then we see the big mover there, Boa Cement. Yeah, the cement again, the cement giants, just like yesterday and the day before, closing at 183 naira. Giving the bulls more time to play.
And let's see the closing numbers for other major equities around the world. And that's business news. It's back to Ayotune for more on the News at 10.
Many thanks, Will. Ghana's Ministers of Defense and Environment have died in a military helicopter crash in the central Ashanti region, along with 6 other people, a government spokesperson says. Defense Minister Edward Omani Boama and Environment, Science and Technology Minister Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed were killed in the crash, which Chief of Staff Julius Debra described as a national tragedy. Earlier, the Ghana Armed Forces said the Z9 helicopter, which was carrying 3 crew and 5 passengers, had gone off the radar. Here's Simon Pusey with more international news in Around the World in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. A top UN official has warned there would be catastrophic consequences if Israel expands its military operations in Gaza, after reports Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is pushing for total reoccupation. Assistant Secretary General Miroslav Yenka told the UN Security Council such a move would be deeply alarming and could endanger the lives of more Palestinians as well as Israeli hostages held by Hamas. Israeli media reported that Mr. Netanyahu plans to meet his security cabinet next week.
Mr. President, the latest reports regarding Prime Minister Netanyahu's possible decision to expand Israel's military operations through the entire Gaza Strip, if true, are deeply alarming. This would risk catastrophic consequences for millions of Palestinians and could further endanger the lives of the remaining hostages in Gaza.
The Kremlin says US envoy Steve Witkoff and Russia's Vladimir Putin have held constructive talks as Donald Trump's deadline for Moscow to agree a ceasefire in Ukraine looms. Foreign policy aide Yuri Ushakov said that during the 3-hour meeting, Mr. Putin transmitted signals to Witkoff on what he called the Ukrainian question and received corresponding signals from the US side. The US president has said Russia could face hefty sanctions or see secondary sanctions imposed against all those who trade with it if it doesn't take steps to end what he calls the horrible war with Ukraine. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has said he is taking legal action to remove from office dozens of Democrats who have fled the state to block a plan to redraw electoral boundaries. He filed a lawsuit with the Texas Supreme Court seeking to fire Democratic legislator Gene Wu, whom he calls the ringleader of a plot to hijack state government. The redrawn congressional map would create 5 more Republican-leaning seats in the U.S. House of Representatives in Washington, D.C., where Republicans hold a slim majority.
In Texas, we are going to ensure that voters are going to be able to vote for their candidate of choice. For example, I think Donald Trump won in all 5 of these seats that we will be making Republican seats. The gross gerrymandering in these blue states have rejected Republican candidates for office that should be serving those states, should be serving our country. It's the gerrymandering in the blue states that has distorted the politics in America.
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services plans to cancel $500 million in funding for mRNA vaccines being developed to counter viruses that cause diseases such as the flu and COVID. COVID-19. That will impact 22 projects being led by major pharmaceutical companies for vaccines against bird flu and other viruses.
Hi, it's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. here, your HHS Secretary.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a vaccine skeptic, announced he was pulling the funding over claims that mRNA technology poses more risks than benefits. Doctors and health experts have criticized Kennedy's long-standing question of the safety and efficacy of vaccines and his views on health policies. A silent prayer has been held in Japan as it marks 80 years since the United States dropped an atomic bomb on the city of Hiroshima. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba attended the ceremony along with officials from around the world. World War II ended with Japan's surrender after the dropping of the bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The bombs killed more than 200,000 people, some from the immediate blast and others from radiation sickness and burns. And the singer-songwriter Ed Sheeran has surprised fans by playing a number of original songs and Irish tunes during a music and arts festival in Wexford Town. Brought up in Suffolk, the Galway girl singer's dad hails from Belfast, and in June, Sheeran announced that he identifies culturally as Irish. Sheeran also made sure that fans who couldn't make it inside the pub didn't miss out, as he made his way outside to perform an acoustic rendition of his hit single, Perfect.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. Super Falcons head coach Justin Madugu is not ruling out Ngozi Okobi from the national team, saying older players still have a huge role to play in the team. Okobi, who currently plays for Tower Rapids FC in Canada, has not played for the Falcons since 2023 after taking out time to give birth.
There is this wrong notion that people keep having about women football. They think they are old. They look at what happens in the male sports or male football, that the younger the better. But for women, it is the older the better. You check most of these women national teams, you discover that a lot of their top players are over 30, 35, some even getting to 40. And they are still playing actively. Their national team still invites them, they still play. So sometimes it's not just about them even playing on the field of play. They have roles to play on the field and even off the field. So having such persons around will always be a great advantage in a team. So Okobi and the rest of them, they are still players that we are looking at.
Let's turn to club football now. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta says the Gunners believe this season will be different as they're aiming to get over a series of near misses as winning the silverware. Arsenal finished second in the Premier League for the past 3 years and reached the Champions League semi-finals for the first time since 2009. The pressure is now on the Spaniard after another major investment in new players in the transfer window worth nearly £200 million. Burkina Faso produced a dominant second-half display to defeat debutant Central African Republic 4-2 and revive the African Nations Championship campaign at the Benjamin Nkapa National Stadium in Dar es Salaam. 2 second-half penalties and an inspired performance from Patrick Malo and Abdul Bagin helped them outclass a spirited CR side playing their first ever CHAN match.
Can't make the save. Ball given away. Chance for 4. Converted superbly. Then pouncing upon it and from a tight angle. He's managed to work the ball across that has been converted at the back post by Ange Sumara.
And that's your Sports News tonight. I am Kelly Egiga. He's back to you today.
And the main news again. The Julius Abure-led Labour Party and some civil society organizations today staged a protest at the INEC national headquarters in Abuja to voice their grievances over alleged exclusion of their flag bearers from the list of contestants for upcoming elections. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. You have a good night.